morning stretch routine. It's the first part of 4. We start quite easy and basic, and it gets more advanced as we go into the 4th installment. So we're going to start in a upward dog position. So face down, dropping the hips on the ground, chest up. It's a great first thing in the morning stretch. So we want to squeeze our glutes here to protect our lower back. Then we're going to transition into a downward dog. Heels on the ground, trying to lift the hips, trying to force the heels to the ground anyway. And you can just walk into that position a little bit, keeping it dynamic to start off with. We'll come back into the upward dog. This time we're going to stay for a little longer, so take some big deep breaths. Squeeze your butt. Back to your upward dog. Downward dog. We'll transition back again. One last one. Remember, you want to roll the shoulders back here, chest out. Core engaged a little bit. And breathing. Once back to the downward dog. And we'll just walk calves out there again. All right, our next stretch is a seated twist. So let's go left leg straight, right leg over the left. We'll get the left elbow on the outside of the right knee. My right hand is behind me, and we're going to twist around. Now what I'm trying to do here is leverage my elbow in against the knee here. Take a big deep breath in. I breathe out and twist around. I kind of picture it like wringing my body out. Breathe in. Breathe out and twist. More. Okay. Let's get the other side. I'm going to try and stay as upright as you can here. So try and lift through the core. That will help you to get this elbow on the other side of the knee as well. So our first one's going to be gentle. I'm not going to get much twist. I'm just going to relax into it. Every time I breathe in, I kind of come back and relax a little more, and every time I breathe out, try and get more twist. One more. All right, let's get into a little bit of hamstring work. One leg out to the side. Try and pull these toes back towards your face. Sit up nice and tall. Take a big deep breath in. Breathe out in the direction of that leg. Now, with my hamstrings, I don't really need to stretch them too much. I need to do more stretching in the hip flexors, but I feel like it's nice to just stretch the hamstrings sometimes. So I threw this one in. Anyway, we're going to try and get deeper into this position. My aim here is to bring my upper body in this direction. So we do that by a little breathing technique. So we take 5 or 6 short breaths in, then we hold that breath, we push into the stretch. Now at the point where you feel the resistance, that's where you let the breath go and you try and fold and melt into the stretch a little bit more as you exhale. So I'll give you an example. So I'm holding my breath there. Feel the resistance. Breathe out and lean in. Here, I tense the muscle a little bit. Breathe out and lean in. 5 or 6 quick breaths. Tense the hamstring. Breathe out. We'll go 5 times on each side. That's actually a little technique that I learned from the Wim Hof course. And you can download that app for free now, I think. And you can have him explain it probably better than I can. So we're on the other side. Big deep breaths in. Feel the tension. And breathe into it. Last one. Okay. And we'll go with the same technique with our legs together. Make sure you start sitting up nice and tall. Breathe in. Okay, hamstrings are loosened up a little bit, feeling good. We're going to go into a little bit of a hip stretch, nice easy one, butterfly, so feet together. And let's use that same breathing technique. So I like to cut my toes here. Big deep breath in, again, we're trying to pull our upper body taller. Imagine you're being pulled from the top of your head. A couple of big deep breaths in. And exhaling at the spot where you feel the tension. If you haven't done a lot of stretching in the past, it can be frustrating when you first start. But if you stick to it, you'll feel better. I feel great after I've had a good stretch. We got one more. Next, we're going to go into a back bend. So I'm going to switch my mat around. Okay, so we're going to do a basic back bend. Want our shoulders on the ground, rest your head on the ground, and we're going to lift the hips up. And we're going to interlace our fingers underneath. Squeeze your shoulder blades back together. Now, here we can engage the glutes. So, it's a little bit of strength work as well as a stretch. Now I want to peel my shoulders back together as close as I can. Lift my hips up. And just hang out here for a bit. Okay, we're going to make that a little more dynamic. So I'm going to lift, roll onto the left shoulder, tap over here with my right hand, and same thing on the other side. So we want to stretch the whole side body here as we lift at the hips, reach up and over. And 2 more on each side. Okay. Next one, we're going to stretch the chest. Now, this is an important one for a lot of people, especially if you do a lot of sitting for work. You'll have like tech neck and be tight through the chest. So this is a daily stretch for me, because believe it or not, I still spend a lot of the time at my computer editing and programming. So we're going to lay flat, hands out, and I'm going to roll away from you towards my left shoulder and bend my right knee. And what that is doing is it's kind of pinning my arm and my shoulder on the ground, and I'm forcing with this much of my body weight, the rest of my body, I'm forcing that back this way. So I can press down into the ground here and assist that. I get a really nice stretch in the front of my shoulder, and it starts to come into my chest. Can I use that breathing technique to relax myself a little bit as the stretch gets more intense? I breathe in, come out of it a little, give myself a rest, and then breathe out and go back in. Okay, I'll show you what it looks like from the other side. So that right hand is out. I don't want it to come up or down. I want to keep it at shoulder level. And then rotate it. I'll just have a glance at the shoulder every now and then to make sure it hasn't moved. You really feel at the front of the the shoulder, interior deltoid, getting a decent stretch here. Some of the pec minor, stretching the chest out, opening up that posture. So important. Don't forget to breathe. I like doing that breathing before stretching because it kind of gets me to focus on my breath a lot more. So I really recommend you go and check that out. Okay. Whoa. Next one. Okay, last stretch for this session. Hip flexors. So we come into this half kneeling position, and what we're looking for is to get a stretch on the front of the groin here, around just the top of the quad. So we're in this half kneeling position, and we're looking for right angles, just like our lunge. Now what we want to do here is squeeze our glutes and rotate our pelvis down and underneath, and that will give us a nice stretch on the front of the hip here. Now we can accentuate that a couple of ways. We can press the knee into the ground, and we can reach up with this hand or this arm, the same side of the body that's getting the stretch. So we reach with that arm, rotate the pelvis down and underneath. Now I'm reaching over to the left a little more as well, and I can feel this whole fascial line getting the stretch. So sometimes I'll take my left foot out wide a little bit and really sink in, try and drive my hips towards the ground. It's not just one muscle here either. There's the hip flexors, there's multiple hip flexors. So sometimes every time you have to change the angle, and it'll be really up to you and your body to find out which one's tighter than the other. You'll feel it as you start to explore and move around in this position, which one's tighter. Nice and slowly we'll come out of that. And let's go on the other side. So set those right ankles up again. And we'll drive this knee into the mat. Rotate the pelvis down and underneath by scooping, squeezing the glutes, and then we'll raise that hand. So we're just playing with the movement, playing with the stretch to find the tight spot. There it is for me. And I'm going to work into that with my breath. Take that foot outside a little bit, and I'm going to try and get into the inside, the inner part of the hip flexor, really deep in the groin there. And if I kind of grind my hips towards the ground, then I can get a little deeper into that stretch. Okay, I'll have a quick look at how my squat's doing. That feels pretty good. Okay. Now, that is us for the morning. That's about 15 minutes or so. Great way to start the day. Great way to start a session, just to loosen you up. You can do this before training, you can do it after training, you can do it all day. You can do it whenever you want. I don't think you're going to overdo anything by doing this routine too much. Once a day is great. This is the first out of 4 installments that I'm going to do. They're going to get a little longer, a little more intense, and a little more complex. So this is a great way to start off. Thanks for joining me.